Welcome, Black and Tan fans.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a special guest on Black and Tan. Now, Paul, here's something. Since we already know what episode it is, why don't I ask you what episode it is this time?
It's episode 40.
Oh, that was cheating. You already knew that. You're gonna know. That's my thing. That's not your thing. That's my thing. I should always. What?
Every episode we've done, who we talked to, what we said. It's all there.
I'm amazed right now. I'm like literally shocked. Well, no, I'm not.
You think I'm not paying attention, but I'm actually typing notes. But anyway, let's get to our guest.
Let's get to our guest.
Mr. Hughes Johnson is in the house, and you, Donald, stimulated his invitation. So,
yeah.
So why don't you tell us why, and then we'll go from there. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, for sure. So first of all, congratulations, guys, on competing in, I think, Paul, was your first CrossFit
First CrossFit event, a team event with Hughes that we did out in Kentucky in a gym that was 104 degrees, and we did 4 workouts.
So I've been laughing at Paul. I've been not laughing, but kind of sadly laughing at the fact that Hugh has stolen my training partner and brought him over to CrossFit. Well, that's not true. Paul, you've been doing CrossFit for how many years now?
I think this is my 2nd year. I started doing I started training with a CrossFit coach, Shannon McGuire, who was one of our guests prior. And I was doing that to supplement my bike workout, to build a strength program in the winter season for bike workout. And I guess as I had worked with Shannon, she's like, "Oh, you should really try an event. You should really try an event, right?" And I'm like, "No, you can't mix it up with cycling. Like, it just doesn't work out. Like, let's just be honest. I didn't have a lot of shoulder strength back then. It was all in my legs, and I'm still working on that a whole lot." But anyway, so I met Hughes, and Hughes is actually he's a long-time CrossFitter. How many years, Hughes?
About 10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
Not only is he a long-time CrossFitter, he used to be a CrossFit gym owner. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's like all in. That's like all in. I go to work out and I like the place, so I just buy it. What do you think?
That I've seen people do that. I think I have 2 business partners that basically did that.
I was going to say, Donald, are you the same guy?
Well, I'm not the same guy. I didn't have the capital the way that they had the capital. I kind of forced my way in and said, if you want this place to be something special in this area, I'm the man that you need to partner up with. So I brought sweat equity into it, and that's how I got into mine. But pretty much the same thing. Like, if we can make this happen. So do you own the gym now that?
I don't. I did. COVID hit and things changed. So I got out of it about a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. Yeah. So like I was saying, Paul had been doing CrossFit for a while and racing bikes. And I knew that the CrossFit was making him stronger on the bike for sure. I think CrossFit, from what I understand, and I'm really ignorant to it, so you guys correct me. I'm coming from it from a standpoint of I played around with CrossFit years ago for a month or so, and then kind of got out of it. So CrossFit is that lifestyle exercise, right? So all your lifts and things that you would do in life to give you a better life, those are the exercises that you would use in CrossFit just to make you stronger as a person overall in normal type, day-to-day type life type stuff, right? So I know Paul was using CrossFit to make him stronger on a bike. And you couldn't, I mean, his record was so damn good that you could, if Paul would have said, hey, you had to become a ballerina to be better on a bike, he would have had a lot of people buying dancing shoes, buying point shoes, right? Like literally, he was winning almost in his class, he was winning almost everything he entered while doing CrossFit. So in my eyes, it was working. And I would just reap the rewards of what Paul would get out of CrossFit by him dragging me around on the bike and making me stronger. But yeah, so Paul's been doing CrossFit for 2 years. And has he been training with you the whole time?
No, we've only worked out a few times together.
Were you afraid to work out with him, Paul?
Yes, I was afraid to work out with him. He would send me, and he still does this. He'll send me like a text screenshot of the workout he does, and then sometimes he'll add a picture. Like he'll show me the gym floor where there's like 5 guys crawling around on the gym floor, and he's just looking at them.
Yeah. I heard horror stories about CrossFit, and then I watched like the CrossFit games on TV, and everybody looks like like if this were 1,000 years ago, all those people would be gladiators.
Yeah.
Right? Like they would 100% be like warriors, and even the women look like they could be warriors, right? But it's kind of opposite of what we would want to get on a bike a lot of times, you know? And I know that, Paul, your CrossFit training was catered more towards cycling at that time, right?
Right. Well, just to give you some perspective, I raced at 168 pounds, and I had a 32 waist. My first CrossFit event, I went in at 189 pounds. I got down to 180 at 4 o'clock by the end of the workout, or the 4 workouts. I lost 9 pounds with a 32 waist. So my waist size hasn't changed, maybe slightly, but obviously my shoulder size has changed quite a bit. So.
Yeah, I can tell.
And I'm no gladiator.
Are you 100?
There, the first thing I said to Hughes when we walked up and we registered and we go through the doors and everybody's welcoming and I just turned to Hughes. I'm like, I am the smallest guy in here. It was true. It was true. So, I was the skinniest guy in there, no doubt about it.
Do they separate into weight categories?
No.
Age.
We were in the master's class, but the master's class started at 44 years old.
Yeah, that's pretty young. I wish I was 44.
Hughes and I, our combined age is what, 137? What is it? It's 127. 117. 117. Let's just say 117, roughly.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, roughly.
Wow. So they don't have a weight category. Does everybody have to push the same weight?
No.
Good. Yes. So
they have RX prescribed. They have scaled. So for anybody under 45, it's RX or scaled. And then the Masters division does basically the scaled weight with some adaptations.
Okay. So how many people were you guys competing against? How many teams?
I think there were 12 teams total, 8 men teams, but they actually had us competing against the Masters women as well.
Yeah, that's intimidating.
Yeah, and I think they were at different weights than we were at. So.
Right.
Yeah, but it's also timed, right? How many reps or how far of a distance you get within a certain amount of time? Am I right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the first workout we did, the workout after the jump rope competition, was you pushed a sled, 180-pound sled, over a rubber floor, which was brutal, a lot harder than I even expected it to be, because I had been pushing sleds on concrete, no problem. Turf, no problem. Pushing on this tacky rubber floor, like people Hughes came out of his shoe. Other people came out of their shoes. One girl couldn't push the sled at all. It wouldn't move. Literally, it would not move. She fell down trying to push it. And so, Hughes, do you think that was the hardest?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The
Absolutely.
sled push. Yeah, sled push was the hardest thing. But anyway, he pushed the sled down 25, I guess it's feet, right? You do front squats, 21 front squats at 75 pounds. Then you push the sled back, then your partner goes and does it. And then you push the sled back, and then you do 95 pounds, you do 15. And then your partner goes, and then you do, we did 115 pounds 9 times, and then push the sled back. I wasn't sure, like I pushed the sled back and forth the first time and did the 21. And I'm like, wow, that really burned up my thighs. What were you thinking, Hughes, like at that point?
Oh, sucked. It was horrible.
so that was timed, and we beat the time limit. I think we finished 4th in that event or something like that. And then,
Yeah, but then you had to go into your heaviest clean, your max clean lift immediately.
after you did all that work, so you've done like 46 whatever front squats, which you and I, Donald, have talked about. Front squats, you just don't do them because you literally you have to be able to get your elbows up, otherwise you fall straight front over. So we can't hear you though, Donald. Your sound went out. It's the it's the battery issue, Hughes.
We
Anyway.
thought we were fully prepared. Oh,
No, he's out.
no.
Anyway, that was to me. Yeah, we'll wait for you. We'll keep talking. That to me was I did not expect that sled at all like that. I had no idea. And you had warned me, like, oh, the sled's a sled. I'm like, I push sleds all the time. Not so much.
Yeah, that was the thing that set the pace for the day. It was like, oh, crud, I have no legs left, and I have 3 workouts left.
And most of them were leg workouts. Like
Yeah.
It was a lot of leg workouts. We'll go into more of that later.
That's why I knew you would do well with the legs. I mean, that's your strength, and you did.
Yeah, we did all right. Are you back yet, Donald? Try talking. No, we can't hear you still. Hold on, he's going to try something else. This is the nice thing that we can edit stuff out. Oh, now we can hear you again. All right. There we go.
Yep,
You're back.
You're back.
How's that?
Good. Your sound is good. Did you hear that whole spiel about the first workout?
I did not. What was up with it?
It was the sled push that killed us.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. You were telling me. Well, you said that there was a girl who couldn't even like push the sled at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't move. And Hughes lost a shoe on his first run, which I was surprised you were able to make it back with just a sock on. I was like, oh man, this is kind of. So that one was timed. The next workout. Well, you described the next workout.
The next workout was a bike. So to Paul's advantage, we had a 30-calorie bike, and then we had synchronized dumbbell cleans. We had 30. Then split between us, we had 60 burpee box jump overs, and then 30 more synchronized cleans, and then crushed the 30-calorie bike to end. We had a 10-minute time cap. There were only 2 teams that finished the time cap, and Paul rolled it out in like a minute 8, something like that.
1 minute 8.
I mean, I know that's good, but I gotta ask, is that good?
So that was 625 watts for 1 minute after we did all that other work prior.
Yeah, that's good.
I think there was a scream. Remember how sometimes, like when I'm in a sprint at a race and I scream, I had to scream to get through it.
The warrior scream, the Paul Lavelli warrior scream. He's actually made children cry with that scream.
But I'll tell
I
you
don't
this,
know where it came from the first time. The first time I heard it, I was super impressed.
but I was on the ground. I was on the ground for like, I could not get off the ground for like a minute.
I've got pictures if you need them, Donald. I got
Oh, we
pictures.
definitely need the pictures. We definitely need the pictures. So you're competing against all these people. It's just an all-out like. Paul, is it anything like cross? Like I picture it being like a cross or like a time trial. Something.
So the environment is super friendly, super friendly. In fact, one of the neat things is when Hughes and I were waiting to do the jump rope part of it, we met two guys who were actually in our age class, and they were actually members at the gym as well. And they said that they had volunteered and done judging the prior year, but this year they're going to compete. They ended up finishing second. They were super strong. Like I think they got up, like so for Hughes and I think we got up about 340 pounds with our cleans, roughly 350. These guys got up between the two of them 410 pounds. That means each guy's pulling up a clean of 205 pounds. That's a pretty impressive after a workout. That's a pretty impressive number. So they were super nice. But yeah, it's like a cross where everybody's like, we drank beers when we were done. There's a lot that resembled cross. A friendly environment. Everybody's intense. You kind of go in and out. Everybody's cheering each other on, even competitors with each other.
I noticed that. Like, I think even more so, I don't know how you can be that competitive and still really want the next guy to do well. Like, it's a weird environment. Because I watched a couple of videos on it just because I wanted to kind of, bring myself up to speed a little bit. And yeah, I noticed it's like, why is everybody cheering so hard for the next person to finish like their burpees or whatever? And I'm like, they're cheering for the same guy that they want to beat.
I've got a perspective.
Yeah.
After being in the gym and grinding every day next to people, watching people suffer, it's like I want to push myself as hard as I can possibly push myself. And I want the guy next to me to do the same thing. And so win or lose, it's about grind. It's about just working hard.
Right. So if we're going to incorporate that kind of workout to cycling, how can it benefit a cyclist?
Well, I'll tell you, from my perspective, if you can do that leg workout, you're able to do a lot of stuff on the bike. So it's kind of I think it's important to remember, and I always reference this. We may be cyclists, but a lot of us are middle-aged men in Lycra, right? So it's really important health-wise for us to lift weights since we're not going pro anytime soon. Like it's super important. Like just the notion of your bone density and increasing your bone density as a health measure. It's really important that men in particular lift weights, everybody, but men in particular. Like it boosts testosterone. It does a lot of really good things. If you're a cyclist, obviously it's all about, weight versus work, right? And so you're always looking for more watts with less weight, but there's no doubt that it's helped me tremendously in the power in my legs. Like I can do stuff with my legs I was not at all. Even when I was just cycling, like doing really, really well at a national level, I'm stronger in my legs now than I ever was. Hughes, why did you get into it 10 years ago? Like,
it's a funny story. So I ran for a long time. And it was just hard on my body. I started biking. I biked for years, loved biking. And then I've got 4 kids. Each one of my kids, their senior year of high school, they got to choose an activity that we were going to do together for the year. And my youngest said, "Hey, Dad, let's go do CrossFit." And I was like, "No, I can't. No, thanks, appreciate it." And so he was like, "No, really, that's what we're going to do." So we went to a gym and walked in, and there was this like 70-year-old woman in there doing CrossFit, and I was like, "Okay, I can do CrossFit." And so it started because my youngest son, that was the activity he wanted to do together his senior year.
Wow. Is he still involved?
He is. We did it for a couple of years. He became a coach for a couple of years. Then I bought the gym, and he and I coached together for a few years, and got married and stopped for a year and got a little thick. So he just started back. He called me the other day and was proud that he was back in the gym. So yeah.
Did he compete as well?
He did. So that's the rest of the story, Donald, that you don't know. So I was in retirement. I was done with competition because the last competition I was in, I did it with my son. And I remember him looking at me and he was like, "Yeah, this is it, Dad. Like, I got to move on. I got to find somebody that can compete." So I was like, "Okay, that's done. No more." And then Paul called me out of retirement.
Pat. So we have a name for Paul Lavelli in cycling. We call him No Chill Paul Lavelli. Is he like that in CrossFit?
Oh, totally. That's one of the things I love about him, and I learned more about him this weekend since we hadn't worked out, was his ability to go into the pain cave and just keep grinding is phenomenal. Like I was amazed that pain didn't matter. He just kept going.
Wow. Yeah. So I noticed that about him also. Like, so we would do a workout where I tell him, "Hey, meet me at the shop at 12." Right? Paul would show up at 11. He would ride for an hour before he rode with me for an hour, hour and a half. And then he would drop me off and he would have to ride back home. So it's like whatever I'm doing, he's just tripling whatever I'm doing. Right? Like, I'm like, and then it'd be like, he would show up for our group ride and everyone would get nervous, right? They'd be like, "Oh, Paul's here. It's gonna be way harder than we thought it was gonna be." It's like,
it might hurt tonight, guys.
it might hurt tonight, but it was one of those things where he did it in a way that made us all better, right? Like he made us all step our game up. If you didn't want to be like I'm kind of prideful in the way that I ride. I feel like I don't want someone going up the hill, turn around, coming and get me, and going up the hill again, maybe turn around again, coming back and get me. So for me, I'm like, one way that I fix this is I get faster, right? I'm going to get faster so this person doesn't have the opportunity to go up the hill, turn around, come back and get me and do that a couple of times. And that was basically Paul, to the point where I'd be like, "Don't come back. Right? I don't want you to come back from it." I'm curious on how Paul Lavelli is in the CrossFit world versus Paul Lavelli in the cycling world. Because in the cycling world, even in the cycling world, he had to start from someplace and he had to get that respect somehow. When you go into CrossFit and you're around these warriors, these monsters, how do you handle that? Is it the same reaction, Paul, that obviously you're starting from the bottom, you're not amongst your peers. How do you handle that?
I'm just stubborn, Donald. I don't better. Like I see something I can't do. Like for instance, I'm still working on learning to do a double under. No, that's still a work in progress. And
What's a double under?
It's where you jump rope, but the rope goes under.
Oh, yeah.
2 times. And that probably took me every day for 3 weeks to do one. Like working on it until my calves were going to blow up, and I stopped because I didn't want to like blow up my calf. But every day,
also
do one.
also when that rope hits your shin, it doesn't feel good.
It's your shin, it's your fingers, it's your back. It's sometimes I hit myself in the head with it. It's bad. It was bad. It's still ugly. Hughes is like, maybe if we get like a little band around your elbows, that you won't be like looking like a spastic trying to jump rope. And he says it very nicely though. He's really nice about
Is it a coordination issue? Because you have great hand-eye coordination because you play instruments.
Dude, it's a timing thing. It's a timing thing. It's a skill. Like you said, if Paul did ballet, like people would want to do ballet. Here's my thing. Like this is what I've learned from CrossFit. First of all, I watch gymnastics completely different than I've ever seen gymnastics. Because you watch those guys hold a T on the rings with their legs in a straight L position. That is unbelievably hard. And I can't even imagine how many years it takes just to do that move. But Hughes, am I right about that? Like the gymnastics, go ahead.
No, the thing I was going to say, the nice thing with CrossFit and the thing that Paul hates, I think, is that everybody's really good at some things and struggles in other things. And so you sort of have to accept that cross-functionally, you've got skills in some areas and weaknesses in others. And Paul wants to be really good in all areas. And that's what we strive for. But to achieve it is pretty challenging because you've got strength, cardio, gymnastics. Like you've got all these different things that it's hard for one person to be phenomenal at everything.
Right. I always say when you have that kind of static strength just from holding a position or doing something like that. I don't know if you ever watched that old movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan. When he was a little boy, they put him in this pit and he just walked around in a circle pushing this like giant rock, right? And he developed into the bodybuilder basically that he was from that static strength. Gymnastics is a lot of that. It's out of repetition and holding that position longer and longer and longer. You might get it for 1 second. 1 second turns into 2, 2 turns into 5, and so on and so forth. And the amount of strength that gymnasts have, it's unreal. I know a couple of really good friends that were nationally ranked gymnasts, and they have accidentally hurt you strength. Yeah, like it's unreal. Adam, Paul, you know my friend Adam who owns Reckless.
Yeah.
Adam has that weird strong, like probably one of the strongest people I know, and he was a Division I nationally ranked gymnast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hughes, what was the hardest skill that you've had to learn? So CrossFit's a balance of endurance, strength, and skills, right? That's kind of where it's. So for me, the endurance, it's not an issue. I can go into the hole, but the strength I'm still trying to build, but the skills has been the most challenging for me. What was the most challenging skill for you?
Yeah, so I cheered and did gymnastics in college. So the gymnastics stuff was relatively easy. I think it's lifting really heavy weights for me. And because real weightlifting is a skill and a strength. And so that's where I sort of struggle balancing the two, is the really heavy stuff. Cardio, I'm somewhere in the middle with cardio. Good in gymnastics, suck at weightlifting, and moderate cardio.
I don't think
So-
you suck at anything, but
So what discipline, I assume it would be mountain biking, but what discipline in cycling? And I'm sorry, I gotta keep going back to the cycling. This is,
No, it's
this, you know, this is kind of what we do. But what discipline in cycling do you think would benefit most with CrossFit?
my answer is downhill mountain biking, far and away. Like if you're
Really?
not, yeah, because the weight's not a penalty there, right? And if you can manage the balance, the torques that you experience on a downhill mountain bike, like that is, to me, that's probably the stronger of the bikes in terms of overall strength.
Right, right. Oh, by the way, Paul, Ed's trying to come in on the group. I gave him instructions, and he's not following the instructions. So it is what it is.
He's too busy making another Facebook post about what he's eating.
Yeah.
That's what.
You know, I don't have this thing down to where can you guys see the comments?
We're not seeing comments on our end. No.
I'm not seeing any comments on mine either. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm going to blame it all on Elvis not being here.
When Elvis is not here.
Yeah, I'm blaming it on Elvis. I'm blaming everything on Elvis. I'm blaming all the technical difficulties on Elvis right now. So Ed, I'm sorry right now. I can't have you come in on the conversation, Ed, because never mind. Ed just commented, and I see his comment now.
What does it say? So, I don't see it yet. What does it say?
Yeah, I'm not even supposed to be reading these comments. So, you know, I'm all mixed up right now. I'm all backwards. But anyway, so I was thinking that you were going to say cross was going to be the best discipline for CrossFit, because where else do you have to get off the bike? You have to run with the bike. You have to run up hills. You have to, I mean, it's a full body workout. You know what I mean? I'd say second to it, the second thing that you would probably benefit would be mountain biking, because you're really using a lot of upper body in mountain biking, and you're pulling those bars up to your chest, and you have these exaggerated movements in mountain biking that need to be incorporated with stamina as well, right? You got to do those. It's many different pulls that you're doing with a mountain bike. So
I'm not going to
I
get.
was thinking that's where it was shine.
I'm not going to get the years right, but I believe in either 2018 they did have a cyclocross event as one of the events at the national open for CrossFit. So that's the national champion, and it was either last year or a year before they had a mountain biking event as one of the events. So there's definitely
I've seen them getting on. I did see a mountain bike event in one of them. They actually they went off road. They got outside the arena that they were in. Again, that's why I think they're gladiators, because they perform in arenas, right? They got outside the arena, they threw on their helmets, and it was funny that you said that, because I was like, some of the people put their helmets on backwards. and I was like, damn, these people would annihilate me and everything else, but I would kick butt in this mountain bike event right now. So it goes to show, like you said, there's strong points. Everybody has a strong point.
Mm-hmm.
That is, it is my greatest fear, and I'll tell you why in a second. The interesting thing about a CrossFit competition is typically you don't know what the workouts are. Mm-hmm. So you get something like a skill that you couldn't do. Like if I competed a couple weeks ago, like doing toes to bar wasn't a skill I had. It could be an event, and you could just stand there. Like that's a very, very humbling experience of being able not to do the skill. Has that happened to you, Hughes, in competition at all, where you're like,
I can usually pull off it. So the funny thing is, like double unders. The first time I was in a competition with double unders, I did like 4, but nobody else could do them, and so it separated me from the pack. But I will say they've done road bike before in the games as well. So they've done cyclocross, they've done road bikes as well. So you just never know what's coming at you.
Oh, you don't know. They don't tell you. Is it just?
You got to show up and be ready for anything.
Whoa. Okay. But you never train on a road bike in the gym, do you? Or a mountain bike in the gym, do you guys?
Not necessarily, no.
But
You got to
got to be
suck
ready
it up
for
and
anything.
do it. Yeah.
some of those
Swimming,
people?
same.
Go ahead, Hughes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, swimming, they've done kayaking, they've done all kinds of stuff that like brand new introduced, didn't know it was coming.
Which is why people put the helmet on backwards, because they've actually not been on a bike wearing a bike helmet. They just had no idea how to wear a helmet. It's not uncommon to have something that you've never done before, and now you're competing in it.
Yeah, but you're competing in it at a, like the one that I saw. I don't know if it was Worlds or Nationals, but it was big. I mean, there were thousands of people in the audience, and even at that level, you don't know what's coming at you. They could throw anything at you.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Paul was talking about the sled push a couple of years ago. They came out with like this ridiculous worm thing that was like, I forget, 500 pounds or whatever. And you had to flip it down a field. And so Rogue does a good job of like, they introduce new equipment every year. And so people walk in and they're like, wow, what is this? I don't know. And you just have to figure it out.
Wow.
So when he says a worm thing, it's a sandbag, a long like sandbag filled up with sand that equals 500 pounds. That 3 people will have to lift up onto their shoulder, then lift it up to the other shoulder, put it down, then do it back and forth. It's like all of a sudden, like, okay, that's what we're gonna do.
So in any of the competitions, do you have to work with someone else? You were saying 3 people. Do you have to?
That's the team that's the team competition. They have team and they have individual.
Okay. So like that would be something that you and Paul would have had to do together to accomplish that particular goal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So like the synchro snatches, your dumbbell has to hit at the ground at the same time as your partners, and you have to lock out at the same time as your partners, and the judge is watching there. And so what also happens in CrossFit is it's called no rep. So all of a sudden you do something and you didn't do it right. The judge says no rep, and it doesn't count. You got to do it again.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which can throw you mentally if you worry about that. It can throw you off mentally. Like, what do you mean no rep? It's just like you just keep going.
So obviously Hughes went and didn't let you down. He showed up and performed, unlike me on our last big team event, Paul. I to this day I can't apologize enough. But yeah, second place in your first event. When's the next one?
Well, it was third. We're third place. I think we
Third.
missed
Okay, third.
two spots, but we were third.
Okay.
The next event that I'm going to do will be an individual event. I'm going to try to qualify for what's called Wadapalooza. It's in January in Miami. It's one of those more national events. There's a big national pro field there, and I'm going to try to qualify in my age group for that. And that starts in September. You have to do workouts and submit them on film, and then they pare down who gets invited to that. So that's I might try one in between now and then, but we'll see. Hughes, what's your next one?
The same. I'm going to try to ride Paul's coattails and go to Wadapalooza and cheer him on and see what happens.
What we need to do, and I said this to Paul, so Paul has an entire cycling family, right? That he's one of us now. And we need to all go down and cheer you on and make sure you don't forget about us, because as soon as this is out of your system, your ass is coming back to cycle. So
No doubt.
I'd advise you not to gain too much weight. You know what? It can be an open relationship. I'll share you. I'll share you, man. Because I'd rather have some Paul Lavelli than no Dr. Paul Lavelli.
There you go. You're not getting rid of me. I don't know why you talk like that. But
No,
I want to
I'm
ask
not.
you.
I already know that. I know that. You know how many bikes I have upstairs in this place? Hopefully Jenny's not really listening right now, because by the way, I called. Did you get my message? I called you and said,
I called you
I was
back.
like, yeah, man, we're clearing up this place. So this is Ed. Ed is another one of our cycling buddies. He comes in, he hangs out all the time. His name's Ed Sauls. So Ed, I tell Ed the same thing. I'm like, hey, Ed, I need to clear out the bikes. If you have a bike here, come grab it, because we're trying to clear out the room. So Ed comes and grabs his bikes. The next week, he notices your bikes are still here, Paul. So he goes, what's up with that? What's up with that? Oh, I see how it is. Paul can leave all his bikes here. He goes, by the way, I counted how many bikes there were up there at Paul's. He goes, I had 2 bikes here. Paul has, I'm not going to say the number, but Paul has X amount of bikes here. And he actually got mad at me and thought that I didn't ask you to come get your bikes, that I was just telling him to get his bikes out of here. So, Ed, I know you're still listening.
And if you were, poor Ed. This is gonna make him sad. Let's not make him sad.
No, let's not make him sad. I just wanted to tell him it had nothing to do with him. It wasn't personal.
Ed,
You know?
I'm on the record now. Donald did call me, and Ed, you know that this probably happened as well. I called him back and said I can pick him up Tuesday or just bring him to your house, which is what he had offered me on his message. But Donald that's probably still in his voicemail. He doesn't even realize it's there. Right?
Yeah, I didn't listen to it, to be honest with you. You know what? I purposely don't listen to voicemails from you to make you call me back so I can hear the Paul Lavelli voice, that encouraging voice that you have. So yeah. Anyway, so
hold on. I don't want to forget this question. Hughes, you've competed at the National, the Open. What's the biggest event you've competed at? I don't know.
Yeah, so the CrossFit Open is international competition for CrossFit. Starts in February, March timeframe. It's 4 weekends. They tell you Thursday night, and you have till Sunday to finish it. So when I was 55, I got in the top 10% and got to make the first cut for the regionals. And blew up. So I'll be 60 this year, going to try the same thing, because every 5 years you're in a new division. So that's part of the goal of go to Wadapalooza, be ready for the Open, try to make the regional cut to the CrossFit Games. So we'll see.
That is cool, man. So
now,
what?
Donald,
Yeah.
hold on. If he goes to the CrossFit Games, just so we're clear, you and I are driving my RV out to wherever it is, and we are going to stay there and watch that game. But
100%.
You got to keep yourself in check there, because I know
100%. I'm 100% down with that, man.
Good.
I'm 100% down with it. So CrossFit is notorious for people thinking it injures athletes, right? What age are you seeing? You're going to be in your 60s. What age are you seeing CrossFit athletes go up to?
So they actually have a division for, I think the oldest division is 70 to 75. And You know, the problem with injuries in CrossFit are these guys that walk in their 30s, 40s, 40 pounds overweight and remember what they did in high school playing football. And nobody's like, hey, dude, like slow down, build the strength, do it right. I mean, CrossFit gets a little bit of a bad name just because some people abuse the skill. It's a lot like biking. I mean, when I was biking, it was like, dude, I sucked until I worked on like skills, and like you can get injured doing anything wrong.
No, that's true. That's true. I've had a lot of people follow me down a hill on a mountain bike, and maybe I made something look a little easy, and I turn around and they're not where they're supposed to be anymore. You know, it happens a lot. It's a skill set. It's a skill set that you have to develop. And you know, I've had it on climbing on a road bike, where this little itty bitty woman has gone past me so fast. And again, it's a skill set. It's a cardio. It's a buildup. You can't go into a CrossFit gym, I assume, and see someone that's half your size pushing some heavy weight and think, oh, I can do it too, without that skill set.
Right. Exactly.
You know what the interesting thing, which is because we're doing the biking analogy, Donald, like the biking has its intervals that you do to work out, right? And CrossFit has its workouts, or what I would call really an interval, because they're typically somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, usually, you know, not too far off. But and I always looked at like the videos before I did this, and like, oh, you got the CrossFit athletes and they're crawling around on the floor after they're done with their workout, and like, and I'll tell you, when you go deep in a workout, that's where you are. Like, it's way more exhausting than a cycling interval. Way more exhausting. Like I told Hughes after we did that workout, and it was our third workout of the day. I said, if I finished this and like I was targeting 106 and I got 108, I said, I'm going to fall off the bike. I'm not going to be able to sit on the bike anymore. And that's what it was like. Like, I could not sit on the bike when I was done. That's how hard it is. You know?
Wow. There's no place you can coast and rest, is it?
It's interesting. Go ahead.
No, you can, but you're not going to achieve like that. Like, you can coast, you can go slower, you can slow down. Everybody gets to choose how hard they push themselves. But competitors like Paul, I mean, they're like, he knew he was going to fall off the bike on the floor. Other people coasted into the finish.
Yeah, I just like, I mean, on a road bike, I can sit into the pack and I can cruise. On a mountain bike, I have a downhill that I can coast down. Even when I'm racing, there's points where you can relax and you can chill.
There's no hiding.
Like
there's no hiding. Yeah, there's no hiding in a CrossFit workout. It is what it is.
Even on a time trial bike, Paul. Say if you're going out and there's a headwind, you don't push so hard into the headwind, right? You know it's going to be a tailwind. You save all that for when you can really get that speed, when you turn around and you're coming back, right? So there's times, even in time trials, that you can rest, that you can relax, and you want to try to relax. I just don't see it at all with that.
There isn't, but, and I'm interested in Hughes' perspective on this. There's pacing, right? There's looking at a workout and deciding how fast should you do those first 21 front squats at 75 pounds, like, or should you take a break in between them? Like, Hughes, what's your perspective on that? Because I've had to learn pacing. I have to pay a lot more attention to it, just than cycling.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective is cycling. You know, you can stop pedaling, the bike keeps moving. In CrossFit, a lot of times, like, whatever you're doing, if you stop, and you're not making progress. And so pacing, Lord, it's funny you ask me about pacing, because it's now in hindsight, I would tell you the thing I am the worst at is pacing. I'm like all out of the gate and then crash at the end. And that's not a good thing. You got to figure out how to spread the energy out over the entire workout.
Well, it's hard. That's the hard. I have a pretty good feel for my body, so I know where it's at. But I know people. I struggled even in the beginning with that, even with that knowledge of going out way too hard and just not being.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to leave a lot in the tank either at the end of a workout. Like you want to put as much as you can out there. So there's a fine line. But that's like,
so Paul, you say that since there's no weight category, it's more age category. Could you have competed at a lighter weight? Or is it that what you said, mass moves mass? Is that really important?
it's still strength to weight. It's still strength to weight. It's kind of funny because in the professional CrossFit world, there's some taller guys who are thinner, right? But not cycling thin, but certainly not like a 5'11" walking triangle. Like there's both sets of individuals. And what Hughes said is the interesting thing is, I think at the pro level, like the winner of the overall competition, he doesn't win every competition. Like there's 10 events. He may do 13, 14 in one, and then 2 in another, and then 21. So there's a lot. When Hughes said some people have better skills in certain areas, that's what you have to accept as a CrossFitter, right, Hughes? Am I right about that?
Yeah. The goal is to be 4th place in every event and you win, versus being first in one and 10 in another and 20 in another and 30 in like your goal is cross all domains to be the most fit.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it totally makes sense when you're competing in 12 different disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
It completely makes sense. I wish we should have like a CrossFit event for bikes, Paul, where we have shorter races, but all like different disciplines, like 3 or 4 laps of cyclocross, 2 laps around a crit course, a time trial, and just keep it moving all the way down, and score it similar to the way that you would score a CrossFit competition.
Yeah, that'd be
That
great.
would actually be pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever heard or seen anything like that, but that would be really cool to see who's the best overall cyclist. Because again, you know me, I like to, when the guys beat me up on the road, I beg them to take me to go mountain biking with me, right? And that same person will still destroy me on a cyclocross course, But I think that would be really cool. I think that's the only way to really show who has true all around strength and who is in the best condition all around. I think that's the cool thing about cross is it truly will show who's an athlete and who's not.
You schedule that event and I'll come cheer y'all on. I want to see that.
Right.
It's a golf score. The person with the lowest place across multiple events
wins.
That's how
that would be fun. And we could definitely come up with something like that. I think that it's on it right now. We got to look at the date and everything. So if someone else pops up and does this event, we can say you stole it from us. Right.
That's right.
But there's all kinds of really cool events and cool different things that we can do in the cycling field that could we can definitely take some pointers from other types of competitions. I'm just amazed at how fast, but I'm amazed, but I know Paul well enough now to, when he said he was going to do it, I knew he was going to go all in. Right. I mean, that's just the way my brother works. He's all or nothing. He's not gonna half-ass anything. So Yeah, now the next competition in Miami, I got to figure out a way to get down to Miami and cheer you guys on because you'll both be there now. And
Hopefully, yeah.
you know, I like Miami. Miami's a good place to go. If you're gonna go somewhere in the country, Miami's not a bad one.
And it's an amazing event. It's an amazing event.
Yeah, to your point, Donald, that like when Paul asked me to do this, like I had to kick it into overdrive because I was like, I will not be the weakest link. And I know he's going to be barking at my heels
I'm gonna
because
tell you right now, and if you beat him, if he knows that he's anything that you beat him in, trust me, he's focusing on that, and he's gonna. And I don't want to talk about you, Paul, like you're not here, but that's just the reality of being your friend. You know, the guys we go training for a training ride, and one of my mechanics here, Matt, would say stuff like, hey Paul, Donald said that he kind of beat you up the hill last week. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, why would you say that? First of all, I never said that. Second of all, I already know what that means. Whether Paul took it to heart or not, I know the next climb that we do, he's going to rip my legs off, right? It is what it is. It's the way he's one of the more competitive people that I know, but he does it in a way that I haven't seen before. You know, I've seen that, and I think it's him being a doctor and working with different intellects and different mindsets, that he knows how to manipulate people in ways that others don't. I'm telling you, Hughes, watch out. Watch out. I'm not saying wear a tinfoil hat because that won't work against him. That won't work against him. He reads minds. He reads minds. Somehow he reads minds, and he knows how to get in your head. So you being on his team is an advantage, though, because trust me, he's going to get in their heads. He's really good at that.
yeah, his getting in my head has been a good thing. It's like he's trying to make me perform better, not worse.
Yeah, when you got to have someone that's that, like I said, no chill, right? You need that person in your if you're an athlete, you need that person around you, because that person's going to motivate you and hold you accountable to do certain things. It's too easy. It's the same way with CrossFit. It's too easy for us to quit.
Right.
But if you have someone that you're competing against and holds you accountable, that makes you show up on a 7:30 in the morning ride because he's going to be there and he needs you to help him out, you know, that's what it takes. And he is the perfect person for that. He when he says he's going to show up, he shows up. When he says he's going to do this, he does it. And he's going to do it with or without you. So you might as well jump on that train and do it with him and reap some of the rewards that he has to offer. Yeah, and I'm sure he's learning from you. I'm sure he's learning a ton from you.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, enough about me. So, last but not least, because we're coming up on an hour, and Hughes has a very strict bedtime. That's why he's so damn strong.
I do.
But Hughes, at the end of every podcast, when we have a guest, we ask them two questions. Who taught you how to ride a bike, and what was that first bike, if you remember?
Oh gosh. So actually my older sisters taught me how to ride a bike. So I grew up out in the country, and I remember them pushing me off a hill on a bike, and it was learn or die. And fortunately I learned. I don't know so the bike was like the big tall handles with the banana seat. Because the only thing I remember is like we used to build ramps, and we'd like go down the driveway as fast as we could and hit that ramp and just hope for the best. But I don't know what kind it was.
Donald, Isn't it amazing we have any guests at all? Because every time somebody says how I learned to bike, somebody tried to kill them trying to teach
Yeah.
them.
That's right.
It's a
Yeah.
very common answer. I
It
survived.
is. It is. A lot of. Now you're the first person that said their sisters
True. Yeah.
try to help them, taught them how to ride, but there's always a hill involved,
Yeah.
and it's always like they just push me down the hill. I'm like, that's it, huh? Well, to be honest with you, that's kind of what my dad did with me and my sisters. Same thing. Pushed us down a hill. We learned how to do it in the back hill. When we lived on Fort Meade, I remember it.
Now we have Strider bikes. Kids can be a little safer.
Yeah, it's a lot safer nowadays.
Right.
Well, Hughes,
That is
thanks
awesome. Hey, do you
thanks.
guys want to let people know what gym you go to?
So I'm still push 511 in Ken, Baltimore. Hughes, what is your gym at this point?
So I'm actually going to the Jewish Community Center here in Memphis, Tennessee, doing my own programming and own workouts. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So if you're in the Baltimore area and you want to come work out with Dr. Paul Lavelli, come check him out at his gym for sure.
Yeah, I've been pushed a few times. Worked out at Blue Crab last time I was there. It was pretty awesome gym in Jessup.
Okay, that's not too far from here. That's pretty cool.
What should happen really is next time Hughes is in town, Donald should join us for one of our workouts.
Oh.
I will, and I'm going to say it live. I'm going to say it for everybody. I'm 100% down with joining you for a workout, but I will have to modify a lot of things in order for me not to hurt myself.
Yeah, that's what CrossFit's supposed to do.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I am really scared to hurt myself and put myself out of cycling, doing things outside of my sport. So, but I am down 100%. Paul, we don't have to wait for Hughes. I'm down, man. I'll come out and you go easy on me though.
I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Right. I think if I say it, if I already kind of submit to you on this platform, Paul, I know you're better than me. I know you're stronger than me. Do me a favor. Don't hurt me.
Here's the best thing, Donald. This is the true equalizer. At Push, there's a downstairs called the Beast Cave. Right next to the Beast Cave is, I don't know what you call them, but they practice jiu-jitsu there. What do you call that? It's not a dojo. What is it?
Gym, jiu-jitsu. Yeah, jiu-jitsu gym. Yeah.
So if I really beat up on you, you could just take me next door and just hand me my ass if you wanted to.
That's fair. That's fair. I get 5 minutes, a 5-minute round. If you hurt me there, I get to go home, I heal. We go back, I do a 5-minute round.
Okay.
Deal.
Do I have to wear the ear things?
It won't matter.
He's gonna rip them off.
You can wear whatever you want to wear. You can wear anything you want to wear. Literally, pick it out of a book. Wear it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man.
Thank you, Black and Tan family.
Yeah, thank you guys. Sorry, hey, we were out on, so we missed our whole Facebook community. Facebook didn't go live, so that whole side of the community wasn't here. We were live on, I believe, Instagram, and I think we were live on our YouTube channel. So I will post this to our Facebook channel. They'll be able to see it afterwards. But sorry, guys. Again, I blame it all on Elvis. He wasn't here. Elvis was not in the building.
Come home, Elvis. Come home.
Come home. All right, guys. Have a great night. Pleasure
Thank
meeting
you.
you, man. I look forward to seeing you and hanging out and you showing me
Yeah.
a little bit about CrossFit.
Me as well. Thanks, Donald.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Later,
Thanks,
guys.
Paul.
Have a great one.
You too.